At 2 a.m. on September 19, 1994, Jia Hong, a young woman working in Guangzhou, China, rushed to a police station in Xinjiao Town, Haizhou District, reporting that she had just been attacked by a man who attempted to rape her. Jia Hong recounted that she had just gotten off a train at the Guangzhou station at midnight when her handbag was snatched by a thief. As she wandered by the roadside, a middle-aged truck driver approached her and offered her a ride into the city. He even showed her an old police uniform in his vehicle, claiming that he was a police officer trying to reassure her. After getting into the truck, Jia Hong became increasingly uneasy as the road grew more and more deserted. Before arriving in Guangzhou, she had heard rumors about a serial killer being hunted in the city, which heightened her fear. While the truck was still on the road, Jia Hong seized the opportunity to open the door and jumped out, fleeing into a nearby garbage dump. The driver chased after her, strangling her and attempting to rape her. Fortunately, Jia Hong, being taller and stronger than the man, managed to break free, and a passing car forced him to abandon his assault. After hearing Jia Hong's description, the police realized that the driver resembled the serial killer who had been on the loose for the past 4 years. His victims were all women traveling alone late at night, and the crime scenes were located in the Xinjiao area. The truck matched the tire tracks found at previous crime scenes. When Jia Hong said the attacker had driven toward Huangpu village, the police had her identify suspects living in that area through photos. She pointed to a man named Luo Shubiao, confidently stating that he was the driver who had attacked her. On the morning of September 19th, the police went to Luo Shubiao's house, but he was not there. His wife informed them that Luo had called earlier, saying he was going on a business trip, and had asked her to withdraw all their savings and send it to him at a meeting point near the train station. Searching Luo Shubiao's residence, police discovered a locked attic at the end of the staircase. Upon breaking in, they were shocked to find female genitalia displayed on shelves, along with many plastic models. The small bed in the room was piled high with women's clothing, and the wardrobe contained hundreds of women's underwear and bras. Subsequently, the police confirmed that many of the clothing items belonged to his victims, which Luo Shubiao kept as trophies after committing his crimes. Others had been stolen and hoarded over the years. On the desk, they found a notebook belonging to Luo Shubiao, with the words, "Fast Food," written on the cover. Inside, the dates, locations, names or nicknames, clothing, serial numbers, and detailed descriptions of his crimes were meticulously recorded. This notebook documented the times he committed crimes, including both his visits to sex workers and his murders. The police asked Luo Shubiao's wife to cooperate, and she waited at the train station as arranged, allowing them to arrest Luo Shubiao as soon as he appeared. The investigation team then took Luo Shubiao's DNA, which confirmed that he was responsible for the rape and murder of 18 young women from February 1990 to September 1994. Police also accidentally discovered that his fingerprints matched those found at the scene of a murder in 1977. During interrogation, Luo Shubiao quickly confessed to his crimes. Born in 1954 in Guangzhou, Luo Shubiao had a long history of theft, dating back to his teenage years. He had been sent to labor reform camps twice for theft. In early 1977, just after being released, he broke into a dormitory to steal and was caught by a female employee, whom he then murdered. Due to limited technology, the police were unable to track him down, leaving only some fingerprints at the crime scene. In February 1983, Luo Shubiao was sentenced to 5 years in prison, also for theft. During his imprisonment, he began stealing women's underwear and bras, developing deviant behaviors. After being released in 1987, Luo Shubiao frequently watched pornographic and violent videos. He became inspired by the character Lam Kor Wan in the Hong Kong movie Butcher of the Rainy Night, which was about a taxi driver who raped and killed 4 women, then cut off their genitals and breasts. Luo Shubiao began stealing women's clothes, dressing mannequins in them to relieve his sexual urges. In his notebook, he recorded 208 instances of theft. From 1989 until his capture in September 1994, Luo Shubiao regularly drove a 0.6-ton truck at night, picking up more than 260 street prostitutes and taking them to secluded places for sex. He developed the urge to kill women who either checked his license plate before getting into his truck or resisted his aggressive behavior. Luo Shubiao's first rape and murder occurred on the night of February 7, 1990. He spent over 2 hours stalking and waiting, eventually luring a young woman from another city into his vehicle. The woman fought back fiercely, but was ultimately killed, and Luo dumped her body by the roadside. The next day, he returned to the scene to observe if there were any developments. After some time passed without detection, Luo became more confident, believing that police would only investigate people connected to the victim, and that they wouldn't be able to trace him. At the time, the police faced difficulties because Guangzhou's population was highly transient, with no one reporting missing persons, and there were no witnesses or surveillance cameras at the crime scenes, making it hard to find leads. By October 1990, after the fourth murder, the police concluded that a serial killer was responsible, as the methods of the killings and the way the bodies were handled were strikingly similar. A task force was formed to investigate small trucks passing through the area and review the recent release of sexual offenders. While they did not identify the real culprit, the large-scale investigation helped the authorities solve 86 other criminal cases, including 2 unrelated murders. Starting in February 1991, Luo Shubiao became increasingly reckless and uncontrollable. After committing crimes late at night, he would transport the bodies back to his house, carry them up to the attic, an area only he was allowed to enter, and sexually assault the corpses. He would then place the bodies into sacks, barrels, or wooden chests and dispose of them in remote locations. On one occasion, when Luo Shubiao was moving a body into a wooden chest to take it outside, his wife caught him. He lied, saying he had accidentally hit and killed the person and, fearing the cost of compensation, wanted to secretly bury the body. He explained that he had removed the clothes so the victim wouldn't be recognized. Luo's wife was suspicious, but she thought he wouldn't dare commit murder, so she didn't press further. Luo Shubiao also intentionally left semen on the bodies, testing whether the police could discover it, as he wanted to play a game of death with the investigators. Based on the remote locations where the bodies were dumped, places that would be difficult to access without knowledge of the area, the investigative team concluded that the perpetrator might have worked or lived in the town of Xinjiao. The police interrogated more than 3,260 suspects in the area, but to no avail. The police collected physical evidence from over a dozen victims and the perpetrator, identifying his blood type and creating a composite sketch. Since the killer targeted sex workers and used brutal methods to mutilate the victims' genitalia, the police suspected the criminal had perverse sexual tendencies and a deep-seated hatred for women. After committing his crimes, Luo Shubiao meticulously recorded the victims' physical characteristics, the colors and styles of their clothes, the details of the rape, his emotions, and how he disposed of the bodies in a notebook. Upon hearing that the police were tightening their investigation, he destroyed the notebook, but re-recorded the details in a simplified diagram. On May 25, 1992, Luo Shubiao was arrested for soliciting prostitution and was sent to a re-education center for 6 months. During that time, Luo saw an urgent investigation notice from the City Public Security Bureau regarding a series of female body cases. He became extremely frightened, believing that his game was finally over. Afterward, Luo escaped from the center and remained in hiding for nearly 6 months, but he never gave up on his criminal intentions. From March to September 1994, he raped and murdered 4 more sex workers. A total of 1,686,000 fingerprints were examined to identify the victims, but only 2 were successfully identified. On January 18, 1995, Luo Shubiao was sentenced to death for multiple crimes and was executed by firing squad on January 20th, 1995. What do you think about today's case? Please leave your comments below so we can discuss it together. Don't forget to support us with a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate our team to bring more dramatic cases. And that concludes today's case. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Goodbye, and see you next time.